The Inforce WML was developed when a SOCOM unit went to Inforce and asked them to fix some of the shortcomings in their existing weapons lights. Now, I've been following Inforce for quite some time and have a great appreciation for their innovation and technology and utility and design. I'm always looking for the next best thing. I like to see companies that innovate and push things to the next rung in the ladder of excellence. And when I saw their existing WML, which is a great utility light, I figured that I'd give it a shot. Well, when we did, we found through our very tough and rigorous D3 courses and our darkness courses, running low light, CQB type situations, we realized that we had some specific requirements that we'd like to talk to Inforce about. So when we sat down with them, we asked to put a momentary only digital switch system in there. We feel that momentary only activation switch where the operator's input is on and off, that's it. Okay, there's no mechanical buttons to push, nothing to click, no toggles, it's on and off, okay? So after getting the digital switch function just right for use, we asked to see if we could bump this thing to 150 to 200 lumens. Okay, now we could have gone further, but we thought there was really no reason to do so. So the first thing you should know when you're looking for a good weapons light is what are your applications. Okay, the next thing you need to know is what does a manufacturer actually put into the light. So let's talk about the lumen myth. Okay, now the lumen myth is actually just one of those ridiculous things out there that I love when you see on forums and people talking about, oh, you should have this or you should do that, or your light sucks because it only has this, or you need 6,000 lumens. Well, let's talk about what a lumen actually is. Okay, remember the lumen is the measurement of light from the source. Okay, what's emitted from the source. The source is the actual the chip inside, the LED that if you could take off this lens, take off the hood, and just see that little LED sitting on there, that is the source. So if you measured the light at that point, that in theory would be your lumens. Okay, so that doesn't mean how much power you have downrange, which leads us to candela. Okay, now candela are what we used to call candle power back in the 1800s. And then around 1940 something, 43, they changed it to candela, okay? Which candle power was a measurement of one candle in a room. So if you go to Walmart and you see 1,000,000 candle power spotlights, you can go out poaching deer, that means that's equivalent to, in theory, 1,000,000 candles, okay? Which is a fire hazard, by the way. So the candela is power emitted by a light source in a particular direction. That means downrange, okay? That's what we're really looking for in a light. So you may have 15 lights sitting on a table that are all 200 lumen or 300 lumen or 400 lumen, but all of them are going to react differently because of the way the cones, the reflectors, the lenses, and the way the light is actually built. So keeping this in mind, even if the source was covered by an ideal absorbing hemisphere, ideal, okay, means a perfect light, perfect lens, okay, that hemisphere is the lens. The light has to pass through that. So even if it was absolutely, you know, $1 million lens in there was perfect, the power that's emitted, the light that's emitted off the LED, when it goes through that source, it's cut in half. Okay, now, when you have a bunch of lights sitting on a table, let's say they're all 200 lumens, that doesn't mean they're all going to be 100 lumens, because there's no standard measurement of lumens. Even companies out there that don't post their reports on how they build their lights or how they test and evaluate the light and the output that actually comes out, there's no standardization, so we use comparisons. We go online, you can make your own comparisons. Or if you don't have the ability to make your own comparisons like we do, committing our life to this every day, then you can go out there and seek out the knowledge. So I'm not going to talk the whole light talk right now, because there is great sources out there of information. Sources like Candle Power forums, there's some really knowledgeable people on that forum that I won't even contend to argue with here, because those guys know their shit. So make sure you seek that knowledge out. And if you want to learn about lux and lumens and candela and what those things are and how it applies to your lifestyle and what you need a light for, then make sure you seek out that information. Okay, so I got a couple of different lights here that are very popular, and all in comparison to each other of how they'd be used in a low light situation. So first I'll start with the X300, which is a 2.4 hour runtime and 170 lumens. Now, I'm going to shine them down range so you can kind of see a comparison between all the different lights that we have here. And you can see it's for a handgun light that you can certainly mount on a primary weapon system. It's got a good throw to it, okay? Now, keep in mind the spill and the flood that goes around the center beam, okay? Very hot beam in the center. All right, let's jump to the next one. Mini Scout. Before I go to the Mini Scout, remember that the X300 is a 6-volt system. There's two 3-volt lithiums in there. The Mini Scout is a single 3-volt lithium, puts out 200 lumens, okay, so 30 more lumens than the X300, and it runs for 1.3 hours, so a little bit less runtime. Now you can see the hot beam in the center, and again notice the spill and flood on the outside. Okay, now moving to a larger Surefire Scout, okay, the standard Scout. This is a 6-volt system, 200 lumens, same thing as a Mini. 2 hours of runtime, so you're getting more runtime with the extra battery. Notice the hot beam in the center, and again, the spill and the flood. Okay, now we'll jump to the Inforce HSP WML. Okay, this is a 200 lumen again, same as the Scouts, but only 3 volts, okay, only a single cell in there. Momentary. Now notice what that 200 lumen capability is giving you in candle to downrange. And notice the spill and the flood. It's a lot different than these. So I'm still getting good target acquisition, identification, but I've got a lot more spill. So I want to talk about how that plays a role in tactical applications and how it works well with the momentary switch. When we search in a dark situation like this, we want to cut the pie. Okay, now again, there's different applications for different types of tactics that you're using, but general search for general people. If you're searching your house, you're searching outside your yard, and you don't want to give away your position, meaning that you don't want to shine a flashlight around like this and search. Okay, when you do that, you're giving away your position. Same if I drew a line, okay, from myself to the threat. What am I doing there? I'm just saying, hey, here I am. Here's how far away I am from you. So keep that in mind as well. That's why I like a momentary switch, so I have power authority. If I want it on, it goes on. If I want it off, I let go of it. So I don't have any mechanical switches that get stuck on in case I'm spotted by somebody and I accidentally had too much body alarm reaction and the switch came on and stayed on. So I like to have that control authority there. That's very important to us. But notice the spill and the flood, okay? So outside that center beam, that's not hot. I'm not getting distracted by the center beam. So I still have good target identification, but that flood and that spill allows me to see a really wide area around the target. So, or if there was no target there, I see that whole area instead of just the hot beam in the center where I'm distracted to, I see this whole entire flood area out there now. So when I cut that pie, when I do 180 degrees here, which is probably hard to see in the camera, I'm cutting the pie. Just like if I was changing lugs on a tire, I'm going to go opposite of each other, okay? So I tend to do that very quickly when I search. So the extra flood and spill that you get there, when you do that quick pie search, you see more. And you don't have smaller pieces, small piece, small piece, small piece, small piece, where I could cover those 4 pieces with 2 and have just as much information. Okay, and less movements, a little bit more efficiency, just because of the way that the reflector and this lens and this entire unit works. So just a couple of tidbits on tactics and using lights and why we chose the Inforce HSP. A lot of people have been asking why we went with this, why we use the momentary only. There's a lot more involved than just lumen myths, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to run inside real quick and show you kind of those same theories in a CQB environment. Go. Okay, now we're inside, and we're not going to turn this into a CQB darkness discussion because that's not what this is. We're basically putting lights on a wall, okay? But what I want to show you is like what we showed outside. When you're searching inside of a house, same thing applies. You're cutting that pie, you're searching for different things, and you need to do it as quickly and efficiently as possible. So this is where you're going to see the lumens come into play. It's not too powerful. A lot of people like these really high power 500 lumen lights inside of houses. They will wash you out. I don't give a shit who says, oh, you can get used to that. No, when you're going from darkness situations where you're coming in from outside, surreptitious type stuff, and you're blasting 500 lumens on a wall, you will distract yourself because of the way the human body and the physiology works in your eyes, which again, seek out that knowledge and understand how the human body works, how your eyes work with lights, especially high power lights on white surfaces, and see what it does to your eyes in that stress situation. Is that what you want happening at that point in time? There's certainly an application for really powerful lumens. I just don't personally find it ideal in CQB type situations. So looking down range, when we're searching in a room, when you search here, you want to go back and forth, cut that pie quickly, but I'm going to show you those 2 differences on the wall with flood and spill. Now if you see the WML on the wall, we've got the targeting sight, and you have no distracting beam, but look at all the flood and spill that I have all around the light that allows me to see everything else. Maybe there's a hostage in the corner or offset that I don't want to create liabilities with, where if I turn on a light that has more of a spotlight, okay, like a high power weapons light that you see on the market, or like some of these Surefire lights, which are great in different applications, but in this you can see the differences of what the spot does. It's distracting my eyes only to the threat right there. It's not letting me look over here or over here. So when you turn on the WML, you can see that that spill is very important for that. And that's again why we put that this light into use in HSP operations, because of what the tactical advantages it gives you both outside and inside. Okay, so again, search. I saw that whole room. Where here I have a beam. I didn't really get everything I wanted in the center where the target is, and then I'm gonna have to move over here and maybe get a third search. So that's how my eyes work. Everybody's eyes work differently, especially if you're older, you're on medication, alcohol can affect the way your eyes work, especially in low light situations, especially when you're going from a scotopic environment, which is what we're in, which means less than a half a moonlight, okay, is scotopic or more, then to a photopic situation, meaning 20/20 vision, daylight operations. So we're shifting our focus very, very quickly, and we need our lighting tools to work for us in these applications, not against us. That's where spots, okay, too much flood, too much opened up, too much lumens or candela downrange can actually affect the way our eyes work. So it's always good to go beyond the light, go beyond the gun, and learn about these systems and learn about yourself. Stay sharp, be safe. I'm Travis Haley. Thanks for joining me.